Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be going over that big lake effect snow event that is set to take place across western Pennsylvania and as well as western New York. We'll also be going over your Thanksgiving forecast. If anything will derail your Thanksgiving plans, we'll have details on that here for you in this forecast. Let's first begin with what's happening though today across the United States. And there isn't much of anything for most areas in terms of at least rain or snow. It's been pretty dry for the most part over the last 24 hours, but there's a couple of noticeable features, one of those being a low pressure system back over into the northern plains, back over in the upper Midwest. That is bringing a couple of flurries, some cloud cover back up into the northern portions of the United States. We also have a cold front down here over into southeastern portions of the United States. Areas like northern Florida are beginning in the 50s this morning, so it's cold out there, at least in terms of Florida, but it will obviously be a pretty cold next several days as, again, another strong cold front coming through that area. The big story all week has been the potential for this lake effect snow event that could bring several feet of snow to areas like Watertown, New York, all the way through Rochester, Buffalo, and Jamestown. Anywhere right along Lake Erie and Lake Ontario has that potential for even several feet of snow. I'm not ruling out that potential for maybe upwards of 4 to 5 feet of snow. It's not out of the question that it could get that extreme. So the HRR model does indicate we'll probably start to have more of these bands of lake effect snow really begin later today. So probably during the evening hours. We've already begun to see a little bit today, but it's more on the lighter side. It will become much heavier though going into this evening in the overnight hours, and this is what I'm talking about. This is the lake effect snow. Again, that's when we have warmer waters but colder air going over it. All this basically the water evaporates and we start to see lake effect snow, especially with westerly winds. We'll see more of this condition unfold going into the overnight hours tonight. That'll also begin back up near Watertown. By tomorrow, we'll still have this pattern ongoing. Can't even rule out a couple of snow flurries back over into eastern New York, into even western New England. Accumulation not really going to come much out of that. And then eventually going into Saturday, this trend just continues throughout the weekend, really. I mean, this will be an ongoing trend for a while. Now, I'm going to point this out real quick. I don't think this will happen, but it's not impossible. And I'm mentioning this because there's actually a possibility. The HR model is indicating just over the next 48 hours that 70 inches of snow is possible. I'm not ruling it out by any means. It's not actually impossible in this scenario. That's really going to equivalent, though, to like 3 inches of snow per hour. And it's kind of hard for that to happen for a consistent 24 hours, but not impossible. Again, be mindful. A much more reasonable estimate, I would say, is going to be this computer model indicating the more likely areas to see the heaviest of snow will still be areas like Watertown and near Buffalo, New York. But I think more reasonably, 3 to 4 feet of snow is much more reasonable. Again, I can't rule out isolated amounts to upwards of 5 to even 6 feet of snow out of this event. Also, this map I'm showing you here is going to indicate the travel impacts and what to expect out of this lake effect snow event. The purple over here near Buffalo is indicating extreme travel impacts, meaning that you should probably not drive at all during this event. Also, major impacts is that red area. It includes areas like Watertown back over in upstate New York, and then orange is going to indicate moderate, and then also minor impacts for those in the tan colored areas. So just be mindful. Again, travel impacts definitely expected out of this event. And this is the National Weather Service's forecast for the snow accumulation. Much more reasonable, again, I think, in terms of what to expect. Again, isolated amounts are not impossible, but near Buffalo, New York, the current forecast is between 48 to 60 inches of snow, just to the southeast there of Buffalo. That is an extreme amount of snow, again, in just such a short period of time. Back near Watertown in upstate New York, similar story there. We're still talking 2 to 3 feet of snow. Isolated amounts, again, possibly up to 4 feet are not out of the question. And near Buffalo, New York, we cannot rule out the potential for upwards of 5 to 6 feet of snow by any means. All right, let's talk about North Texas for just a brief moment, then we'll get to your Thanksgiving forecast. I just want to quickly mention this, but very early in this year, we're in November. This is not usual. This is more like January to February type weather. There's a possibility for some snow flurries. If you're back over in North Texas, there's definitely a possibility going to late Friday night into Saturday morning. Accumulation will remain very minimal. The air near the surface is much drier. Therefore, a lot of these snowflakes will not reach the surface. But for those that see more of the light snow type, there's a possibility for maybe a very slim coating back over in northwest North Texas. Again, nothing too crazy though in terms of accumulation. Also, the coldest weather of the year is coming to the United States, where we'll be seeing sub-zero temperatures back up in the northern Great Plains. On the other hand, almost every single state in the United States will have below freezing temperatures at some spot in the state, and that does include areas like the Panhandle of Florida, Texas, California, Arizona, all the states again included in the potential for at least some below freezing temperatures. So be mindful of that. Again, the coldest weather of the year is coming today, but it won't last for too long. Going to next week, if you have any any Thanksgiving plans, well, at least beginning with this weekend, it's going to be very cold across the United States. But warmer weather will start to enter into the United States heading to early next week. We'll have more average type weather across almost the entire country. Exclusion will be the northeastern portions of the United States where below average temperatures are expected up there, but we'll have warmer weather starting to usher into areas like the United States, and eventually heading into Friday or Saturday, so just after Thanksgiving, we'll have another cold blast basically enter into areas in the eastern United States, so the mid-Atlantic region's feeling that, and that'll be associated with the potential for some rain. A little trough will start to develop that could bring the potential for some showers and maybe some storms heading to early next week, and then by late next week, around Thanksgiving, more rain is expected across the southern plains down in the southern United States, and then a trough may build in going into Friday, so Black Friday shopping might be a little bit messy out there in the mid-Atlantic regions. Make sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe if you've not already. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.